We'll try this again. So when we're looking into simplifying here, the last thing we've talked about adding, talked about subtracting. Now we're going to get into dividing. All right? And basically, ladies and gentlemen, when we're dividing, we're actually not going to be able to divide to actually get an answer. But basically, what we're going to do is simplify by dividing. All right? Because if you guys think about it, I, again, represents this imaginary number. It really represents the square root of -1. But it represents an imaginary number. So remember, division says how many times can something go into something else, right? Well, the idea of thinking about how many times can something that's imaginary go into something, it's kind of doesn't really make too much sense. So what we want to do is eliminate the I in the denominator. So let's think about that. What I to what power does not have an I at all?
What?
I to what power over there does not really contain I? Yeah, 4 works. And what else? Just I squared, right? You can use I to the 4th, or you can use I squared, but we prefer to use I squared because it's a little bit more simplified than I to the 4th. So to get 2I to have an I squared, I just have to multiply the denominator by what? What do I need to multiply I by to get I squared? I. OK? Now the next thing you guys need to know is whatever you do in your denominator, you have to do in your numerator to produce equivalent fractions. And my example is, if you had the fraction 1/2, right? And you multiply that by 3/3, you get 3/6. Is 1/2 equal to 3/6? Yes. So as long as you multiply the same number in the denominator as you do in the numerator, the equation, the fraction, not the equation, the fraction is exactly the same, the value of it. So let's see what happens. -7 times I is?
-7i.
OK. Then 2I times I is? 2I squared. And what does I squared represent?
I.
So you have -7i divided by 2I squared. I squared goes to -1. 2 times -1 is -2. -7i divided by -2. The negatives divide to a positive. So your final answer is 7i divided by 2. Huh?